It's been a horrible period for the industry as a whole. It's been a horrible period for a lot of industries, of course, but no more so than the tourism industry, with all the different elements of that impacted greatly, not least hotels. For my area, if I look across the area, it's been a very, very mixed periods of recovery and then sudden downturn. No more than a location like India, for instance, as an example, where we had very solid recovery at the start of the year, then you had a second wave, and then you see the country rebound so positively only recently. So it's been an interesting but difficult journey. It's one that's taught us all lots of lessons, that's for sure, not least how fabulous my team are. They've all responded so wonderfully to what has been an awful period. But it's nice to see, especially across this area, not least in the Middle East, some positive signs of recovery, some key locations starting to open up. Saudi Arabia, just a week or so ago, opening up to travel. And obviously Dubai, which has handled the pandemic very, very well, I have to say, on a number of different fronts. So we are seeing an upturn in business. The summer has been very positive. Leisure business across the entire area has been excellent, and in some locations in line with 2019 figures, which is super to see. Of course, business travel, not easy at all. Conferences, meeting and events, international travel has still been subdued, but in the essence, yes, it's been positive to see the last 3-4 months upsurge, that's for sure. Turkey has been very positive, I have to say. They've rebounded very, very well. They've had an excellent summer from a business perspective, as has the UAE. Saudi Arabia, it's been intermittent because of business there and flight patterns in and out of the country. But in general, of course, we see an upturn in business, that's for sure. There's a lot of pent-up demand for travel, whether it be on leisure or business, by the way, in both those segments. But yes, we'll start to see business travel return, I'm sure. Last year was very much staycation driven and specific to certain locations, whether it be here in the UAE or Saudi Arabia, etc. So yes, of course, staycations were extremely positive. But this year we do see those travel corridors opening up, CIS coming in, Russia coming in to different locations, Egypt, Turkey, and of course here in the UAE, which has seen a wonderful summer period with any flight corridors that have opened up. We've seen good uptake into the UAE, which has just been great to see. From an Accor perspective, obviously, the company has a lot of brands. We have 40 plus brands. So we've got a wide portfolio across a number of segments, across all the segments per se. Wonderful to see the SLS open earlier this year, First Lifestyle. Raffles on the Palm opening shortly, first week of October, which is super to see. And our first leisure Raffles. It'll be an excellent hotel, wonderful opening, I'm sure. You have 25 hours coming. You mentioned also, or referred to glamping, which I think is a reference to Mantis. Mantis also got great traction outside Africa for the first time in the Middle East, which is also super to see. Hyde coming in Business Bay, our second lifestyle hotel in the city after SLS, and again a great interest in that and the opening of that property. So wonderful to see the portfolio of the brands being well used and well thought of, and I think across the area as a whole we've got really good traction. I think 6 months ago, not just myself, but others within the industry were a little bit apprehensive with what exactly would Expo bring and would it materialize as we wanted it to. Dubai Tourism have done an amazing job at driving Expo and making sure that the world is aware that it's happening. They've done a great job at pitching the city so well on the back of Expo. And you can really see now the impact of Expo. Leisure business into Dubai is extremely well received. For the majority, the beach hotels and the leisure resorts have had a fabulous summer. and again, really look like they're, for the first time, coming out of COVID and the last 18 months of negativity. But you can see from the business hotel perspectives in and around Expo, Business Bay, those hotels are starting to really ramp up on the back of Expo. And that looks very positive, not only in the short term, but also in the long term, over the next 6 months for the period of Expo. We have people on the ground in those locations. I have offices in India, in Dubai, Egypt, Jeddah, Johannesburg, Morocco. So we're well covered with professional guys on the ground. We're not guessing in Dubai about what is happening in Johannesburg. I have full teams on the ground in all those locations. So the key decisions are being made there. The strategy for the region is very much here in Dubai, of course, with the area office. But listen, you need to, especially in these times of difficulty, you need to listen to the teams on the ground, make sure that that communication is open and transparent, and listen to what those guys are saying, because they know best. Situations have changed daily, not even weekly, and you've needed to respond accordingly. There hasn't been too much long-term strategy made over the last 15, 16 months, that is for sure. It's been more reactive. And in a normal environment, you would say, okay, that's not the way to be. But in the last 15 months, of course, you've had no choice but to approach the business in that way. And I think we've done that in a very, very positive way. We've listened to our wonderful teams that are out in the area, in those key locations I've mentioned. They've done a fabulous job in making sure that we're communicating openly with our audience, with our guests, our clients, our third-party intermediaries, the travel agents, etc. But also, just as importantly, of course, with our owners. Accor is a management company managing other people's assets, and that communication with owners throughout this difficult period has been absolutely paramount. As always, I'm quite humbled with the way people have reacted to the pandemic on all different fronts, not least the owners and indeed our intermediaries. People have really tried to be open. There's been a super amount of communication. Government intermediaries, for instance, which we don't have a lot of dialogue with. Let's be clear. It's been a wonderful period for transparency, open communication, and a collaborative approach to dealing with the pandemic. And trying to assist the travel and tourism industry, which is so critical across the entire area, inclusive of Africa, not more so than India and Turkey and Morocco. The UAE is the epitome of growth in the hospitality sector over the last 15 years. So it's absolutely paramount that everybody needed to work together in a collaborative way, and I think that's very much been the case. Governments and government organizations, health authorities, tourism authorities have dealt with the pandemic in many different ways. And from an Accor perspective, we've worked with those governments and with those entities on a continual basis, which I have to say, I don't think we've worked in such a way before, ever. This has been something, of course we work with governments. We have interaction, but not as we have had in the last 15 months. It's been really wonderful to see. And again, yes, Dubai, of course, here they very much led the way that they treated the pandemic, vaccination process, communication to the outside world with regards to Dubai as a destination. But also a lot of other governments made a lot of traction with regards to key decisions and key activities on the table to try and assist tourism. And again, I think that's true across the entire area. India, irrespective of the troubles they've had with the second wave, has been treated very well by the government post the second wave. And you can see that that's reflected in business returning. And other countries across the Middle East, while everybody has taken a slightly different approach for the most part, for us as Accor, we are the biggest operator in the region with the most brands on the floor. We've worked with those government entities and made sure that we adhere to whatever is being communicated as best as we can, making sure that our guests and our employees stay safe at all times, which has obviously been the key focus. the MICE segment or the group business segment is under a lot of pressure. Of course it is. And that for two different reasons, or two key reasons for me. Three key reasons. One, obviously the impact of the pandemic and the safety and security measures with regards to social distancing, etc., etc. International travel is another reason, and also financially, that sector will take longer to recover. Most businesses globally have been impacted financially by the pandemic, and cost of travel, cost of attending events, cost of organizing events, that'll take time to recover, not least because the other two elements also contributing negatively. So yes, of course that is a concern, but still, and you can see that here at the conference, there's still a real desire to meet and interact face to face. Teams is wonderful, but it's not that wonderful. And I'm sure it'll recover at some point. From the 5 giga projects that are out there, Accor is heavily involved in all 5, with a number of hotels in each project, not just one. Across all the brand footprints, there's not just, I think there's this belief that the projects will just be high-end, ultra-luxury, and that's not the case. Some of them will, of course. But there's also a real desire to push lifestyle, and of course with 12 lifestyle brands, from Mondrian to Delano, SLS, 25 Hours, Mama Shelter, Hoxton. We have those brands, and we look forward to seeing them going into the giga projects. And as we sit today, Accor has a wonderful exposure across Saudi Arabia. We're the #1 operator there, and that's a position we intend to keep even with the giga projects coming online. I was in Alula last week, which is an amazing destination, by the way. If you get the chance to go, you definitely need to go. It's mind-blowing, literally. I've not, traveled 85 countries and seen a relative amount of key locations globally. Alula is just a wonderful resort. We have a beautiful banyan tree coming there. Should open Q1 next year. And I think you'll see hotels start to open at the end of 2022. You'll see the first hotels coming in Red Sea, etc. I think so. The travel across the area is across all segments, I have to say. You have a lot of family travel going on as people can get away, and we've seen that through the summer as people have traveled. It's very much dependent on the corridors opening up, the different flight destinations. Inbound and outbound. I think today it's a broad spectrum. Of course, you're missing some elements such as group and MICE, which we already mentioned, and business travel remains a little bit subdued, of course, but it'll improve as we go into Expo, especially here in Dubai. But no, I think travel is still broad. There doesn't seem to be any apprehension traveling with children, I have to say. It's still a positive, and we can see that in our leisure hotels across the city. So no, I think when people can travel, they will travel, and that we have definitely seen. Key locations that have opened up specifically for the summer, such as Turkey, they've had a fabulous summer period. So you can see that desire to travel is still there. And is it easy? No. There's the various restrictions, PCR testing, etc., etc. Believe me, Turkey has been wonderful this summer, and they've been very busy. I've stopped guessing which borders are going to open up, that's for sure. I've been like everybody else, I've been rubbish at that one over the last 15 months, and we've seen borders close, and we were surprised, and we've seen borders open, and we were surprised. The opening of Qatar is a very positive step for a number of reasons. Saudi Arabia opening up in the last 10 days, also extremely positive, of course. And yes, the UK is a key feeder market for many destinations globally, not just least the Middle East and Africa. So it's great to see that open up also. I think as you move forward with the vaccination being more widely implemented and the confidence it brings for people to travel, you'll see travel really start to recover. And there's been a lot of talk over the last 12 months of recovery, 2024, 2025. And again, I'm the eternal optimist. I see us looking at recovery in 2023. I really do, because I think there's demand there. I think people want to travel, they want to experience new things, see new cultures. And as soon as there's a feeling that, okay, I'm safe, I've been vaccinated, they're going to jump on a plane and travel if that corridor is open. The World Cup is a similar business driver to Expo. Of course it is, and very much puts Qatar on the map from a location perspective. It's a big brand event, the biggest brand event. You know, everybody talks about World Cup and the Olympics, of course. I think it's super for Qatar. All it does is add to what is already today a wonderful location. We have a great footprint of hotels there. Wonderful hotels. Just opened a most amazing banyan tree hotel, which is such an iconic building in the city. And we have a project in Lusail coming, which is a Fairmont Raffles hotel. You know, ultra luxury, fabulous location, and that'll be open for the World Cup. So we're gearing up for the World Cup. We're fully involved in Qatar. Just opened an office there, a fully fledged office, so I could put a team on the ground that can be close to all the action, not only leading up to the World Cup, through the World Cup, but also beyond the World Cup as Qatar grows and becomes you know, an even better location than it was previously. And believe me, it's always been a great location. But if you look at the portfolio of hotels that are coming, the exposure to the country with international travelers coming into the country, I think it's a positive for Qatar moving forward. You know, Turkey will continue to grow. Of course, it's a very stable, mature environment with some big key cities. Culturally, it's also super diverse. It's always it's on everybody's bucket list to go there, and that'll continue to be the case. It's also got a huge population. Internal travel remains high, but international travel into Turkey, as we've seen this summer, will always be a demand. So, India, for me, India is a very special location. It's one of my favorite locations in the world that I've been to, for many different reasons, and it's wonderful to see India recovering. We have a wide spread of hotels there. Super to see us open our first Raffles there. We have a second Raffles coming also, which again is interesting that you've got two ultra luxury properties coming in the same country within close proximity, within a close time frame to each other. The future looks bright for India. Culturally, it's such a wonderful country to visit and experience. And again, as travel opens up and people become more confident, I think you'll see business travel and leisure travel return to India quicker than most other destinations. Africa is a different story, and it's such a huge continent, of course, super diverse. French-speaking Africa will recover quicker, not least because of its proximity to Europe, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia. The rest of Africa will take further time to recover. There's a slow vaccination process there, and it's a very long haul travel destination, as you know. So I think it'll take longer to recover. But will it recover? Of course it will. It's one of the most fabulous destinations in the world, so of course it'll recover. If you look where we are today, Accor across my area, Middle East, Africa, India, Turkey, we're over 400 hotels, 420 hotels. You've got 120 hotels to open in the next 36 months that we know about. Okay, this is just, and I don't look further than 36 months. That may be a little bit short-sighted of me, but so many things can change, and if anything, the last 18 months has taught us that for sure. But 120 hotels to open. Obviously, that figure will grow because we will pick up other hotels as we go. Accor and the Accor footprint across the area, we're the #1 operator across the entire area. There isn't any locations where we're not leading, and that's a position that we intend to to keep. And so we should. We have 40 wonderful brands across all segments. Yeah, I look forward to a bright future of growth across the area, that's for sure.